Hi, hello, and all that good stuff. My name is Allie, and this is where I talk about book things. So today I will be bringing you my September TBR, which will consist of a few different things, the main of which is going to be my Hogwarts House Battles TBR, which I am just super excited for. Slytherin pride here. I am actually a co-host for this readathon, so I will be doing sprints throughout the month on that Twitter and all that stuff and challenges. It's going to be a good time, so I have my TBR for that. And then there's a couple other things I'm participating in this month as well, which are related to a book club on Facebook I participate in, hosted by Jacqueline over at Weeby Bookin'. She runs this whole book club. It's so cool. She just does so many things. There's so many activities, and it's a really good time. I will link her channel down below so that you can check out her booktube as well. But first, we have to pull picks from my TBR jar because I pull 3 picks a month. Last month, I failed miserably. I did not read a single one of the picks I pulled from my TBR jar. So that's not great. We're going to try to do better this month. Let's pull our picks for this month and see what we get. Maybe we can make them fit some challenges. So I'm going to try... You probably can't, you can't see, I've got my book cart right here, and then this is my TBR jar. I can't actually pull out of this because I have too many books on my TBR. Apparently, I have a problem, but we're gonna pull 3, so I'm just gonna dump these into my cart that's over here. And then the colors are for different genres, so let's just don't look and grab one. I think this is romance. The Hypnotist's Love Story by Liane Moriarty. It's actually right over here. I'll pull that one out. So that's gonna be this one right here. And I love Liane Moriarty. I think I've read all of her other books except for maybe this one, and I think there's one other one I haven't read. But I basically love all of them. I just think that her writing style is really easy to get into. It's kind of what got me into adult books to begin with. So this one will be interesting to read, and I'll see if I can fit it in for any of the prompts. Okay, so we need to pick 2 more. Another red, so another romance. Okay. Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. That one's also right here. So that's going to be this one right here. I've heard this is a more serious Christina Lauren, not as lighthearted as a lot of their other works, but I've read 2 of their books, The Unhoneymooners and Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating, and I've wanted to read more from them. So see if I get to this month, hopefully. Okay, one more. Hopefully this one isn't a romance. Give me something different. Light blue. I think this is young adult contemporary. Yes, The Chaos of Standing Still by Jessica Brody, which is behind me. One second. So it's gonna be this one right here. I'm interested in reading it. I have read one other Jessica Brody book, The Geography of Lost Things, and I did have a good time reading that one. That one was pretty fun. So this one I know is about a girl who I think it's stuck at the airport, and she has a text message on her phone from a friend who died, I want to say a year ago or something, and she hasn't read it yet, and then there's some mix-up with her and this other guy, and they end up swapping phones, and so she's really stressed about that. And I think it's just kind of her coming to terms actually with this friend's death and just things like that, so we'll see. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get into my Hogwarts House Battles TBR, which has the class challenges that you earn house points for completing. You also just earn points for completing pages read, so that's pretty cool too, and that will get me points even if I'm not reading books that fit some of these challenges. You can double up, but I just picked a book for every prompt. I don't know if I'll get to all of them or if I will try to double some stuff up or what exactly I'm going to do with all of that, or if I'll end up reading something else because something else that fits a prompt is something I'm in the mood for. Either way, these are the books that I'm thinking right now I might read for these prompts. So let's start with The Class of Flying, which is to read a most anticipated read. And I have 2 options I'm thinking for this one that I recently got from my library, and that's I'm Not Dying With You Tonight by Gilly Segal and Kimberly Jones. I don't know a ton about this one, but I know that it's just about girls who attend a football game and they don't like each other, they're not friends, and I guess there's chaos and something happens, and maybe it's kind of like them trying to survive the night after that. I was just intrigued by it from what I've heard about it. I like the cover, and so this one I'm definitely anticipating, and so this is one of my options. My other option that I just got in from my library is Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. This is an adult romance. I've heard it's very steamy, very smutty, much more than you would get from this cover, but that actually is fine with me. I have no problem having some smut in my romances. I'm cool with it. Then we'll move on to the class of astronomy, which is to only read the book at night. And I picked a graphic novel for this, and it's A Silent Voice of Volume 2. I read Volume 1 last month, so I picked this one up from my library now. I liked it. I didn't love the first one, but I've heard that they just get better, and I did enjoy it. I think they're cute and a little bit hard-hitting at times as well because of the subject matter in some of these. I'm excited to continue on with this manga, and yeah. Okay, and then Apparition is to only read in public, and I picked another manga because I don't read in public. So I picked this one. I think I'm probably going to read it at my coffee shop and get some coffee one of these mornings. This is Your Name by Makoto Shinkai and Ranmaru Kotone. I have seen the movie and I absolutely loved it, so I'm really excited to get into this one. This one is about these two people here who keep swapping lives with each other, and it kind of follows their story from there. I don't want to say a lot about it because although I've seen the movie, I don't want to spoil anything, and I just think the story is so intriguing and interesting and emotional, and really excited to read this. All right, then we have Herbology, which is to read a book that means a lot to you, and I picked Fire Study by Maria V. Snyder, which is the third in, I don't know what the series is called, but the first book is Poison Study, and then Magic Study, and now Fire Study. These are a reread for me. These are some of my favorite young adult fantasy novels. I absolutely adore them. There's really nothing I can say about this one without spoiling stuff in the first two, but the first one starts out with Yelena, who is our main character, and she is basically in a dungeon for having murdered someone, and then she is offered the job as a poison taster rather than being hanged, and that means that she has to taste the commander's food for poisons and learn all about these poisons and everything. And then there's a lot more that goes on from there, and the story progresses, and there's magic and intrigue and politics. I really, really love these. They still are holding up for me, and so these mean a lot to me because they're just some of my favorite. Potions will be to read a genre that you don't normally pick up, so I picked this nonfiction book, The Last Pirate of New York, A Ghost Ship Killer, and the Birth of a Gangster Nation by Rich Cohen. I don't normally pick up nonfiction, but I got this in a Goodreads giveaway, and I'm not sure. This looks like a finished copy. I'm actually not sure if this is out or not, to be honest, but I'm intrigued by this. I mean, it's got pirates, it's got gangsters, a ghost ship, a killer. I don't know. It sounds interesting, and I wanted to get more into nonfiction, and this just seemed like it would be a good one to kind of continue getting into that with. Then we have Divination, which is a 5-star prediction, and I will be reading The Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin. I read the 5th season last month and gave that 5 stars and absolutely loved it. So excited to continue on with this series. So I think this one's going to be 5 stars too. I don't see any reason that it wouldn't. I love the world, I love the characters, I love the writing, I love everything about these. Then Alchemy is to read a recommended book, and I'm going to read The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I know that there's a read-along of all 4 of the books this month with like 4 different booktubers hosting it, but I don't know if I'm going to get to more than the first one just because I have so much on my TBR unless I really, really love it and just have to read the next ones. I'm probably only going to get to the first one this month. Then Care of Magical Creatures, obviously read a book with an animal on the cover, and I have another graphic novel. I randomly saw this at my library and had to pick it up. It is the Game of Thrones graphic novel volume 1. I've seen all of the show. I haven't actually read the books. I know. I will get there. They're chunky and I just have so many books I want to read right now, but I will get to them. But this is just a graphic novel, so it should be pretty quick to get through. The art looks pretty good in it. So, and I figure it'll be a quick read, and it's got a crow on the cover, so that counts. Then for Defense Against the Dark Arts, it's to read a book you previously put down, and I'm going to pick up Wicked Fox by Cat Show. I was supposed to read this in July, I believe, and then I just didn't get to it. I read, I want to say like 50 pages of this maybe, and for some reason at the time I just wasn't feeling it, but everyone seems to love this, and I love the idea of it, so I'm gonna obviously give it another chance. I only read 50 pages. I think I just wasn't in the mood for it at the time, and so I'm gonna pick it up this month. Then for arithmancy, it's to read a book with a number in the title. I really could only find this one on my shelves, or that I have out, so I'm gonna read this one, which is The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. And this is an adult thriller. I've never read anything by Ruth Ware, but I've heard really good things. And I don't really know anything about this. I don't like to with thrillers. So I've heard it's good. People really like this author. We will see. Then Charms is to read a new to you book. And I picked All of Us with Wings by Michelle Ruiz-Kiel. Hopefully I pronounced that right. I don't even know. But this I just saw at my library, so it's new to me. I vaguely heard of it at one point. I think there was some kind of like scandal or something surrounding a relationship in this book, but I'm gonna give it a chance anyway. It looks interesting. Transfiguration is to read the last book you bought. I haven't bought any books, I think, in the last 2 months, so I'm going with the last book I picked up from the library, and this actually just came in today, so I had to add it to my TBR, and it's Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. I'm finally going to read this. I know it's all anyone's talking about right now with the third and final book coming out this month, and I'm just gonna be starting it. But I'm hyped. I'm ready. I'm ready to enter this world. It sounds so good. It's so dark. Everything about it sounds like something I will enjoy. So I'm ready to read this. Then Muggle Studies is to read a hyped book, and I actually have another Jay Kristoff book. And this one is by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. It's Illuminae, and this is another one that I keep hearing about, and I'm just really interested in the format with the mixed media stuff. I don't know if I'm gonna like it or not, but I wanted to go ahead and give it a chance. And I know it looks quite chunky, but I figured with that mixed media, it still shouldn't take me too long to get through, so I will be reading this one this month as well. We have History of Magic, which is to read a book from another generation, and I picked The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi. And this takes place in 1889, so that is definitely a different generation than I grew up in, obviously. I have not actually heard a lot of great things about this, but I'm still intrigued, and I'm gonna go ahead and give it a chance anyway. And then lastly, I will obviously be reading the Slytherin group book, which is Wilder Girls by Rory Power. I went ahead and bought a copy of this to make sure that I had one in time. Since I am one of the hosts for Slytherin, it only makes sense that I'm going to read this book. And I'm actually really excited for this one. The whole premise of it being kind of like a young adult horror, maybe a little bit thriller, is really interesting to me. I know that it's about these girls on this island, and they're like quarantined because of this tox or something, and they start to mutate in different ways. I don't know, it sounds really intriguing. A lot of people seem to like it, although I have heard that some people don't like the ending, but... And then I did mention that I am taking part in Bookopoly. I don't know if you can really see this. This is my Bookopoly board, and it's for my book club, so whenever I do a roll, I just roll. Whatever I land on, I have to read something that fits that genre or that prompt or draw a card. And so this I'll be doing throughout the month as well. I will probably try to get this in some vlogs. I kind of want to start doing some vlogging, so I will try to get this in there, and then hopefully those will match up with books that are already on my TBR so that I'm not overburdening myself with even more books. Anyway, that is all. I will have my August wrap up to you guys at some point, and then, yeah, I will see you next time.